on the heels of a average payback. Was this Raw good building into a Elimination Chamber? Now you would think with only 2 weeks for a pay-per-view build-up, you're not going to see something great. But I will say this. A few things in this show I'm very interested in seeing. Everything else is just filler. The thing that I saw that wasn't a bad thing was Sheamus and Ryback. Ryback talked pretty well in the very beginning of the show. I do believe he still needs work on his mic skills. He just doesn't sound that great, particularly talking about the big guy. It's not bad, but I feel like we need more from him. That's just me. He's not a bad character. He is not. But I do believe it needs a little tweaking. Sheamus is Sheamus. Oh, you entertained with that damn mohawk on his head that actually traditionally, if I remember correctly in historical records, for the Celts, who are the Irish, when they used to be tribal, they used to have hairstyles like that. So what he did isn't something from the norm. The match was pretty good. I was alright with that. Sheamus did win that match, I believe. But does it give me interest going into Elimination Chamber? No, not yet. I'm hoping they'll do more with Sheamus and Ryback. Maybe it'll give them a few going into it. Let's hope for that. Adrian Neville is kind of sad. Because technically he lost last night, but won at the same time because we know Barrett didn't want to deal with it, so he walks out, so Neville did win. But when you see this match, it was good. Then it wasn't because Bad News Barrett kicked his ass. Just did. Neville hasn't had that many wins. He gives great, flashy matches, but he's not really given enough time for good wins. And now he's going into a feud with Bo Dallas, the former NXT champion, dealing with a former NXT champion, which actually you would think that might not be good for Neville. But it is someone that he's dealt with before, and they can show scenes of NXT, which I feel this show was spotlighting NXT the most. This is what I feel about it. NXT was up in front here, and that is what was the most important thing. So even though it feels kind of like going down for a Bo Dallas, it's not that bad, at least for the moment. Now, I gotta get this over with right now. I must get this over with. When we look at Dolph Ziggler, this dude right here, who's got that scar on his head now, over the years, he's had many female managers. He's had a Vicky Guerrero, who wasn't a bad-looking woman at all. She wasn't that bad. Then we had a AJ Lee. Not bad either, good looking, but let's be honest, the women were always the spotlight instead of Dolph Ziggler. Now we got Lana, a smoking hot woman who has a lot of following right now. And now looks like she's going to be paired with Dolph Ziggler. If anyone is happy about seeing Lana with Dolph, you better explain the reason why. Why should Lana be with Dolph? If it was Lana out of the picture and Rusev just wanted to take his frustrations out because now he's broken up with Lana, if they had done some scenes Lana flirting with him before, but then Lana's not really involved, or better yet, no flirting at all, he just wants to go after somebody who's now in the Elimination Chamber match for the IC Championship that's now going to be put up for grabs there. He's going to be in there. Now, if he just went after Dolph because he just wanted to prove a point that he's dominant over everybody, I could have easily overlooked this segment. But seeing that they tied all three of them together, if Lana had been flirting with Dolph weeks before, if anybody's seen it, tell me. Fine. But her going into the ring for no apparent reason, walking up to Dolph after he had his match with Stardust and kicked his ass, which is kind of sad. Really sad for him. She gets 2 kisses on him. Rusev comes out, kicks Dolph's ass. She smacks the hell out of Rusev, and then Dolph gets a zigzag on him. I feel sorry for Dolph now very badly, because now he's being paired with another woman that's going to get more either pops or heat than him. And I find that a waste. Even if he wins the IC Championship, it's still a waste because Dolph isn't doing anything other than what he's been doing for the last 6 or 7 years. That's how I see it. And that's what I'm going to stick with. I just think it's a waste. Now, I could talk about Eric and Luke, but why? They're not even in the tag team match at the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be 6 teams. It's going to be, what is it? You're going to have Los Matadores, Lucha Dragons. You're going to have primetime players, New Day, Tyson Kidd, and Cesaro, who I think have shown really good interest and promise more than anybody. They're probably going to be the ones going to win it. And the Ascension, who have been almost nowhere on Raw and maybe been seen on Superstars or SmackDown. There is nothing for Luke and Eric to do. They're just doing nothing. And I don't want to talk about them. So that's about it. Here's a match that I don't understand. You guys tell me below. Naomi and Nikki finally having a match. I didn't understand at Payback why it had to be a tag team match. And why Naomi and Tamina had to struggle at most to the point to beat 2 women that shouldn't be hard. I'm sorry. I'm being honest here to anyone who loves the Bellas. Dude, or do that. Ladies and gentlemen, these 2 women have been in the spotlight for a long time. As much as they have a following, they have done nothing with the Bellas. They had one shot a while ago to have Bella versus Bella for the Divas Championship. As much as a lot of people didn't want to see it, it would have made sense storyline wise. Then they didn't go there, and they made their storyline so confusing. First, Nikki was a face, then she went to a heel. Then her sister was a face. Then fighting against her sister, who was a heel. Then she switched back to a heel. And then without even really fully explaining how she turned to a face, before Daniel Bryan said he wasn't coming back because he's hurt and he's now out, we get this. We get a rehashing of last year. That's too late. Because if Steph is messing now with Brie Bella, because her man is not gonna be there now because he's out again because of his neck problem, that's going to be kind of stupid. Because if they do this again, where they're going to let... If Stephanie McMahon is going to have a feud with Brie Bella, and then Nikki's going to get involved, or Nikki is going to be facing against Brie because Brie is angry at Nikki, and then they clash against each other to finally do Bella versus Bella for the championship title, it's stupid. Now, I just passed over the match between Nikki and Naomi because, essentially speaking, Naomi shouldn't have had to struggle against Nikki. She shouldn't have to struggle. The one that should be struggling is Nikki, not Naomi. And then at the end, you had to see Tamina knock the head off of a Nikki and beat the crap out of her so a Paige can come back, beat the crap out of Tamina, beat the crap out of a Nikki, and beat the crap out of a Naomi so she can have her head held high and say, this is my house. Why in the blue fuck did you let Naomi change her ring attire, give her time to talk, give her time to wrestle, only to be jobbing the way she has so Paige can come back and have an opponent? And it could be a triple threat at Elimination Chamber for these 3 women. I find it stupid. It should be Naomi had won the title last night. She dealt with Nikki as a rematch. And then Paige came back and then Nikki is out of the picture. Paige and Naomi go at each other, which would have made more sense. This is just one big mess. And if anybody thinks it isn't, explain to me because I need an explanation. Finally, let me see here. The last 2 things I'm going to talk about. If I'm missing anything, I'm sorry. The first is the ending of the show. when it came to Seth Rollins and his celebration, the architect. The celebration of an architect of the future, whatever. Seeing those segments didn't kind of not interested. Until Dean came out, who's been spotlighted, who has been presented very well. And he had his match with Bray Wyatt. I know I could have said this earlier. I'm kind of looking over that because this was just a plot device, that match. Bray got a win as a plot device. I'm alright with Bray getting some wins, but he was a plot device here. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, he has nothing to do. But when it comes down to it, two former NXT stars are now going to challenge each other for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Elimination Chamber. I find this excellent. This is what I was hoping for with John Cena leaving the main title scene and going to the low tier title, which I will talk about last. But just a moment. This makes me very happy. Seeing that Seth and Dean are the ones that spotlighted here. That Seth acted like a total bitch and he was scared to get his head bashed in on some cinder blocks and a chair. And that it was a wonderful looking red dress, booby fold, Stephanie McMahon saying to Dean, alright, if you don't kill him, we'll give you your match at Elimination Chamber. Fine. He got his ass kicked, and at the end, Dean stands supreme. I had no problem seeing this, because this is what needed to be done. We needed new blood in the main title scene. We've been begging and pleading for it, ladies and gentlemen. Seth did a great job at WrestleMania cashing in at the time he did. Now he needed more people to work with. The same old people, Randy Orton, John Cena, we've gone through it already. But now dealing with a Dean Ambrose, dealing with a Roman Reigns, dealing with maybe a Ryback eventually. This is what we've been wanting. And now we got it, and I'm very happy about it. Yeah! This is what we needed. This is what we got, and there's nothing wrong with it. Finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about, which is the biggest surprise to me for the entire show. See another promo from John Cena. The crowd likes it until Kevin Owens comes out. Now, if I understand correctly, Kevin Steen and Cesaro used to be known as the Kings of Wrestling in ROH. It's good to see that they're both now in the WWE, and it's good to see that Kevin Owens, not Kevin Steen, is now here, and he went nose to nose with John Cena and said something that I'm very happy to hear that not everyone is willing to say. That we got other wrestling promotions and talent going through the business outside of WWE. Kevin Owens said, excuse me, you want to give me advice, John? I've been doing this mess for 15 fucking minutes here. 15 fucking years. You don't have the right to tell me anything. You may have had options here and opportunity, but doesn't mean I wasn't working my ass somewhere else. I really believe that really resonated with the people in that arena. They hear that someone went up against John Cena who always says, let me teach you something, son, as a veteran. No! John Cena cannot say that he's a veteran over Kevin Steen. Kevin Steen has worked in Japan. He's worked in ROH. I believe he's even worked in AAA. He has worked around the world. He's worked in Europe, he's worked in Japan, and he's worked in Mexico as far as I understand. So seeing someone who's not a small guy like a John, well, not John, like a CM Punk, a Daniel Bryan, a small guy. He's not small. He's 6 foot tall. He kind of got a pot belly on him, but being a pot belly doesn't mean you can't perform. You can still do your business with a little bit of chub on you. Look at Samoa Joe, baby. But when you see this, it is the nicest thing to see that the lowest tier of the WWE's regular roster is going to have a match against the highest tier of the developmental. I want to see this more often. I would not mind seeing that John Cena goes to NXT after this and periodically messes with the people there and then drag them into Raw once every 2 or 3 months. Because him doing this US Open Challenge is a perfect opportunity for the people of NXT to start coming in like Neville did, like, oh man, Sami Zayn did good. He did good. It makes me want to start looking at NXT. If I can only have the time to do it, because I have things I'm doing, so I have not managed to see NXT. But if John Cena is the one that promotes NXT by dragging the people from the regular show to go up against him in the lowest tier title, him being in that position is the best thing for the business. Because having someone, even if you can't stand them being so well promoted, he at least gives people the chance to see NXT and people in developmental, even if they don't stay long and they leave, maybe to go to TNA, ROH, at least they got some exposure if they didn't have it beforehand. Am I happy that this show happened? Yes, I am happy. Yes, because now we're seeing stuff that we've been wanting to see for almost 5 or 6 years. We got new people come in to work in the upper card as well as working in the main event. We have something going on in the lower tier in the US title dealing with developmental, which we barely had a chance to do. Now, if WWE promotes this properly between Kevin Owens and John Cena, I really believe this will do good. If John Cena's there on Wednesday at Unstoppable, I believe that's the name of that pay-per-view, that's this Wednesday, that would work great. He used to do an OVW. Why isn't he going to NXT? Fuck. He should be there. Even if you don't like him there, at least you show that one of the top stars is going to NXT. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane view. Please come give me a comment below. And my debate of the week on Naomi and Tamina will be up next. The true divas of the WWE. Watch out for it and give me your comments on it. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace out.